Hello and welcome to Cinefilm Recap. Today we will be looking at the 2012 Spanish fantasy comedy film Ghost Graduation. The opening scene features a man named Modesto who has the extraordinary ability to see and speak with ghosts. It looks that since he was a child he cannot tell whether the person in front of him is human or a ghost. He is currently in a pub where he observes a female and kisses her, but he hears the crowd laughing at him. In the eyes of the public, he is kissing the air. The fact that 7 schools have turned down Modesto because they think he is insane has a terrible impact on his life. To address his issue, Modesto visits a psychotherapist. The psychologist claims that because there are no ghosts in the world, it is all in his mind. On the other hand, while saving a person from being struck by a truck on the way back, Modesto witnesses the ghost of the psychologist's father making fun of his son from behind. In the scene that follows, a teacher instructs a class on literature to the students. Following class, the teacher visits the library to borrow copies of the study materials. He is pressed against a photocopier by a skeleton who then forces him to print a false portrait of himself. The instructor tries to run away, but the skeleton follows him. The teacher is severely injured as a skeleton pushes him out the window while books, lights, and staplers fly around and strike him. To the public, the teacher appears to have tried suicide. The following day, a man by the name of Otegi shows up at the school to meet the principal. He expresses his concern about common school concerns including teachers resigning frequently, accidents, and pupils' nightmares. He wants to volunteer to assist the school. Tina visits the chair lady, who reminds her of another terrible tragedy in the school, but she declines to take his assistance. A school secretary named Manuela tells Tina that the chair lady, a member of the school board, is waiting for her in the office. When Tina sees the chairwoman, she reminds her of another terrible occurrence that happened in the school, and she puts pressure on Tina to find a solution as soon as possible. Otegi then comes, pretending to be Tina's assistant, and makes a commitment to work on problems that enhance the school's reputation. Subsequently, Modesto appears at the same school for a job interview. Tina is impressed by his resume because it shows experience from several different colleges. Consequently, she hires him right away. While she urges Tina to find a solution as soon as possible, Otegi appears, claiming to be there right now. Class 4B students must be instructed by Modesto. He approaches one of the females and asks her about the class, but she leaves without responding. When asking the lads in front of Class 4B about the class, they lead him to an old library instead of showing him Class 4B. Thus, when he gets there, Class 4B is not visible to Modesto and observes 4 unfamiliar kids. It turns out that those students are ghosts. They attempt to frighten Modesto with a book and a skeleton, as they did with the other professors, but it is unsuccessful since they believe he can't see them. After 20 years after death, the previous girl that Modesto asked about Class 4B shows up at the library to inform her other ghost companions about Modesto. They learn that he is the first person who can see them. They yell as a result, and Modesto walks away, oblivious of what has happened. In the following scene, Modesto runs into Tina on the stairs and announces his resignation. Tina stops him and asks why. The 5 ghost students that Modesto encountered in the ancient library are depicted in the images of the 5 ghost students who passed away in 1986. As Modesto runs away from the school, the 5 ghost students chase him until they reach the school gate. Tina also sees something strange at this time as they are being pushed back and unable to leave the school due to the school's perimeter. Tina visits Modesto later after finding his address on his RSum. Afterwards, both Tina and Modesto go back to the school where Modesto tells Tina what he saw and that one of the ghost students is pregnant. Tina agrees, saying that Marivi, the deceased girl, was pregnant when she passed away. Additionally, she says that the 5 students named Danny, Jorge, Pinfloy, Marivi, and Angela were the previous pupils who perished in the library fire. She claims that those children were held during the library's Christmas party, and because she has faith in Modesto, she requests him to help get rid of the spirits. Tina appears anxious and helpless, and Modesto is relieved that she is the first person to believe him and genuinely believe that he is not nuts given the situation. He offers to help. He really believes that under the circumstances he is not insane. He agrees to help. While this is going on, the other 4th grade pupils organize a group to speak with the ghost. They start by writing questions on a glass and using the alphabet to communicate with the ghost. When they first ask questions, Pinfloy moves the glass on the alphabet to answer them, but after a short while, Danny and Pinfloy scare the children and shoo them away with a chair and a book. One of the students, Elsa, is then intrigued. She therefore continues to ask inquiries. Since Jorge is the only person left in the space, he responds to her inquiries and starts a conversation with her, seeming genuinely excited to do so. The next day, Modesto goes to see his psychologist to ask for guidance from a dead psychologist he had met there, according to the dead psychologist. In order for spirits who are still alive to leave this world and pursue their unfulfilled ambitions, a plan must be developed by Modesto to graduate these ghost students. Since those kids passed away in the building and were unable to complete their education, Modesto believes that graduating will release their spirits. As such, he gives the ghost pupils the necessary materials and encourages them to do so in order to leave school. However, because of his displeasure with the decision, Danny meets Modesto beside a tree with his companions Jorge and Pinfloy. The four of them start to study for Modesto's classes since they take graduation seriously and are focused on their studies because they all want to leave that school. In the scene that follows, with the exception of Danny, all of the ghosts look pleased with Modesto's decision. While everything is going on, Jorge starts talking to Elsa on a little laptop, and they start to fall for one another. On the other side, Angela, who is taking a music class, tells Danny that she enjoys music. He pushes her to join the chorus, and when she starts singing, Danny amplifies the echo, sending all the youngsters running away in terror. Later, Jorge confronts Danny and asks him to stop picking on their mutual friends. Danny then vents his anger by pointing out that all four of them are following Modesto and leaving him alone starting the next day. Danny then enrolls in Modesto's classes, and Tina approaches Modesto during class and shares with him that the chairwoman has been invited by Otegi to Founders Day. She expresses anxiety that the chair lady would fire her and close the school due to the ghostly children. Tina and Modesto appear to be attracted to each other as time goes on, and the students intriguingly join in different courses. But Modesto comforts her by promising to have the Phantom students graduate before Foundation Day. Elsa declares her desire to commit suicide in order to be with Jorge, despite the fact that the general world perceives Modesto to be a freak, as Jorge and Elsa spend more time together, conversing. Finally, test day approaches, and everyone maintains their penmanship. Mirivi, a clever young woman, writes the cheat in her stomach to help Pinfloy pass the test. At some point, they all succeed on the exam, and Danny takes up the test as well. Danny, too, takes the test obediently. After they all pass the exam, a white light shines in the sky, and they all believe that it is their time to be free. But shortly, dark clouds cover the sun, blocking their path, and they are unable to leave. As a result, they are unhappy in Modesto since they think he fooled them. They now wreak havoc in the school, splashing cold oil on students taking showers and setting food on fire in the canteen. They expel the literature instructor from the building once more, and since the school management concludes that Modesto is to blame for all of this ridiculousness along with Tina, they decide to fire Modesto. He then approaches the invisible students and apologizes. He also tells them that because their wishes have not yet been granted, they are unable to reincarnate. Unexpectedly, Danny discloses that he was the one who ignited the fire that killed everyone 20 years earlier and that he covered it up out of fear of being reincarnated into a harsher location. After saying goodbye to them, Modesto leaves. Tina apologizes to Modesto as he exits the school and explains that she was powerless to do anything but save the building. A few days later, after Tina invites the ghost students to meet her in the library, the dejected Modesto leaves the classroom. Tina asks Manuela to make the news. They agree to call Modesto since they understand he is the only person who can help them, so she asks for their help in doing so because she misses him and hopes they do. Then, Pinfloy assumes Manuela's physical form and convinces Modesto to carry on with the school while posing as Tina. He also expresses concern for Tina about the fact that when Angela passes over the letter from Mirivi's boyfriend that she had saved in her locker from one of the previous parties, Modesto agrees to go back. When Pinfloy grabs it and begins reading it aloud for Marievi, she is about to begin. In a letter to Marievi, Mirivi's boyfriend states that the kid she is carrying is not his, and he also advises her to forget about him because he is unable of handling the duties that come with having both a child. Tina and the ghost pupils are excited when Modesto returns, and Marivi is broke upon hearing the letter. The following day is Foundation Day. However, Otegi interferes and prevents Modesto from going to school. While a flurry of basketballs are thrown from the building by the ghost students, some of which strike Otegi while he is arguing with Tina, Marivi realizes that Otegi is actually her boyfriend, at which point she curses him and asks that Modesto speak with him. The audience snoozes because to the dull and predictable musical performance, but Otegi is stubborn and refuses to admit his mistake, prompting Modesto to come up with a solution in the middle of the performance. After encouraging Angelia to sing, she takes control of the girl and makes her walk to the center of the stage where she sings a well-known song to the audience's rapturous ovation. The room immediately turns into a concert. A short while later, however, Otegi interrupts and shoos her off the stage. He then starts bragging about himself and asks the chairlady to appoint him as the new principal. Otegi is insulted by Danny, who now controls his body, and no one would hire him as a result. This makes Danny furious and causes him to possess Otegi. Tina then steps up to the stage and takes command of the event, and Danny apologizes to his friends for his selfishness. His friends forgive him and they are reunited. When Elsa drowns herself in the water, Jorge quickly realizes that he has also become self-centered. He recalls Tina saying that she would follow him and commit suicide. Elsa's spirit encounters Jorge and is thrilled to be with him, but Jorge convinces her to live life to the fullest, or he summons Modesto for assistance. Additionally, he makes the vow that they would one day be together. Elsa dies, but Modesto tries his best to keep her alive, and eventually he succeeds, causing her spirit to reattach to her body. Everyone's unfulfilled dreams, with the exception of Pinfloy, have finally been achieved. Pinfloyd explains that his wish is to attend a party, so they all visit a dance club to carry out his request. Pinfloy enjoys himself at a party he hasn't attended in 20 years, while Modesto dances with Tina, launching off their new romance. When everyone gathers outside the club following the party, they quickly become aware of a bright light overhead. When Modesto signals that it is time for them to leave, all 5 of them hold hands and disappear with the light. Tina and Modesto observe them depart from a distance. Tina finally admits to Modesto how she really feels and gives him a kiss. Thank you for viewing. Be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you can view more videos like this one recapping events. We'll talk soon.